What's up, y'all? Hey, Pound4Pound ATL is back, and guess who else is back? My boy JR is back in the house, boy. I'm glad to have you.
What is going on? What is going on? I am glad to be back in this room. I am glad to be back here chatting with you, back here chatting with all our good folks here. It's vacations are nice, but being home is also very nice.
I know it's got to especially be nice since you was on that cruise with a lot of New Orleans Saints fans.
We came out of New Orleans, and for a week I saw more fleur-de-lis and black and gold than I've ever wanted to see. And then sitting on the boat watching that game, they had it on the big screen up on the deck, right? And sitting up there with my wife's family, who's all Saints fans, like I told y'all before, and having to sit there listening to them, go on and run them out and who dat and all this stuff. I was like, oh my God, it was bad.
What up, Falconator HD?
What's going on, guys? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep, that is the. I guess we would be burying the lead if we didn't go ahead and talk about Riverboat Ron is down the stream.
And you know what? I'm not surprised about that.
I'm not either. They had been like going back and forth on that for a few years now. And now with the new owner in, it doesn't surprise me that he wanted to, put his mark, get his guy in there, so to speak.
When the owner came out and said a couple of weeks ago that it was unacceptable for them to lose the way they did against the Atlanta Falcons, you knew right then some changes were going to be made with that organization and Ron Rivera.
Yeah, you knew that was coming.
Oddly enough, there was a list that came out before the season even started with like 10 coaches that they were projecting could not have jobs. And Ron Rivera was definitely one of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And of course, Dan Quinn was the other.
Yeah, right. Dan Quinn was definitely one of the other ones. What's going on, Ghost Peppers? So yeah, it wasn't surprising. The surprising part was it happened with 4 games left. Because there's 2 trains of thought and this ties into our own situation, right? Is there's 2 trains of thought. If you go ahead and just get rid of the guy, it's like ripping off the Band-Aid.
Right.
You know what's coming, so just go ahead and do it, right? It gives you a chance to maybe evaluate some in-house talent, which the owner come out and said as much. With Perry Fuel, I think is his name.
Yeah, now Perry Fuel was a hot name when he was with the Giants.
Yeah.
And they were winning Super Bowls or whatever.
Exactly. So, gives him a chance to, have a 4-game audition as a head coach.
Yeah.
And also, he said, gives him a chance to take a look at Scott Turner, Norv Turner's boy, as possibly calling plays.
Okay.
As the offensive coordinator. Because now Norv Turner moves into an assistant head coach, special assistant head coach, and almost like a Kubiak role up in Minnesota. So that might be something to look at least for the next few games for them. So that's one theory. But that's one way to do it. Then the other way to do it is, I think the approach that Arthur Blank has taken is I'll wait till the end of the season. That way I don't get the reputation of firing my coaches midseason.
Right.
Or firing a bunch of people midseason. So I'll wait till the end of the season, make my change then.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the way that Blank is composing himself. And, composing his business.
Well, the owner there is doing something similar to what Blank did when Dan Reeves was a coach, because that wasn't his coach that he hired.
Right.
It was a coach that he had coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the owner there. I can't remember his name right now because I'm drawing a blank on that. He kind of did a similar thing. Look, I mean, you're not really the coach that I wanted.
Right.
I gave you 2 years, basically, to do something with the team while I was here and impress me, and you didn't do anything to impress me, and we basically had the same result.
Exactly. Let's see. Star Killer says Jason Garrett is next, and hopefully Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn will go, and Garrett's probably going to go too. I mean, Jerry Jones has pretty much said as much. He said today that Jason Garrett will be coaching in the NFL and that's how he put it, next year. Didn't say he'd be coaching the Cowboys. He just said he'd be coaching in the NFL next year.
Well, we talked about this. Remember, we was talking about that there's a high possibility there's going to be a lot more retread coaches in 2020.
I think so. I mean, because a lot of your first years haven't necessarily lit the league on fire. Like, your Cardinals. Green Bay's doing good.
Yeah.
So that's like the outlier there. But, Freddie Kitchens is making himself look like a fool every day up in Cleveland. So, they haven't necessarily let the league on fire. And, this stuff goes in cycles.
Right.
Sean McVay isn't necessarily looking like boy wonder this year either, with his system out there.
And some would call that the Super Bowl hangover.
Possible, which is always possible. Let's see. Jimmy Wright says, what's this mean for old DQ? It's a copycat league. I think we talked about it. I don't think DQ's gone until the end of the season.
Well, according to Jeff Schultz, he had mentioned from a source saying that Dan Quinn is not going anywhere until the season is over.
Yeah.
Which Arthur Blank already mentioned that after that Seattle Seahawks game anyway. So it was not really a surprise that they're not sending out Dan Quinn right now. Right. And I know a lot of us are hoping that will happen.
Right, but that's not been Arthur Blank's MO.
Yeah.
So if he didn't make a move at the bye, he wasn't going to make a move till the end of the season, in my opinion. Theron Copeland says, well, at least we're back in the Chase Young sweepstakes. I guess it's one way to look at it.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's if Dan Quinn don't decide to win the last 4 games we've seen him do in history.
Right.
Past before when we won the last 4 games in 2015. Let's hope and see. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. For all the folks that are saying hello, Philip Bonner says, "What's up, gents? What's up, folks? I don't know if y'all are glad to have us back, but I know we're glad to be back. I know we're glad to be back doing this on Tuesdays. Hopefully, that will be the last interruption. You might get another one around Christmas, maybe.
Yeah.
But hopefully that'll be the last one for the season. Hopefully we can just maintain our Tuesday nights for the rest of the season at least, and definitely into the off season. So Speed Falcon says, I said hi Speed Falcon.
What's up?
How y'all doing? Oh man. All right, so let's get into it. We haven't talked since the Tampa Bay game.
Right.
The last time me and you talked was the Carolina win.
Yeah.
And that looked awesome, and we were feeling somewhat optimistic.
At least you left on a winning note.
Right. At least I left on a winning note. The last thing I saw as the boat hit international waters and I turned my phone on the airplane mode was that we lost to the Bucks.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to be kidding me. How do we? Okay, fine. We lose to W-eating, crab leg stealing Jameis Winston. And I come back and look at the, highlight package. I ain't been back since, late Sunday evening, so I haven't really had a chance to dive into it. But I looked at some of the highlight packages, and the thing that stood out is our O-line decided that they no longer want to protect Matt Ryan again.
I don't know what's going on there, man, but it's almost like they've gone on strike or they've checked out and letting Matt Ryan, who seems like the only one that wants to play, getting tore up.
Getting worked. I mean, if nothing else, TD's head's going to roll because he didn't deliver on the promise that he gave Arthur Blank.
And I believe you would be correct, sir.
I mean, at bare minimum, all those reports came out that Thomas Dimitroff promised that he was going to fix the O-line.
$80 million worth of fixing.
Right. Went out and signed Jamon Brown and James Carpenter, which have done their best impressions of dumpster fires. And then drafted Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry. Now, I'm not going to hang the fact that Chris Lindstrom broke his foot over TD's head.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, I mean, that is what that is.
Yeah.
You can't predict that, right? But, and you can't, you figure that you're going to have some lumps with Caleb McGarry. The first time we played the Saints, he held Cameron Jordan in check.
Oh, man.
Big time. Not so much the second time.
No, I think they were on a mission when they came up in our house that
I
game,
think so.
man. And it was called winning the division on our turf.
Yep, as they love to do stuff like that for us.
Yeah,
or with us in mind. So, but you taking your lumps with Caleb McGarry, and that's fine. You kind of figured that was going to happen, but you figured you were going to solidify that right side, at least the guard spot with Lindstrom, and Lindstrom was looking good before he went down. So I'm not even going to get upset about that. But the part that I guess I'm upset about is the James Carpenter and Jamon Brown.
And now remember in this game against New Orleans Saints, Jamon Brown actually was not going to be playing.
Yeah, he was benched.
Yeah, for Wes Schweitzer.
Again, Wes Schweitzer.
But then James Carpenter goes out with a concussion, and here comes Jamon Brown up in there again.
To save the day, which he did not.
And don't you find it odd that he's basically the only offensive lineman speaking up about Matt Ryan getting hit and sacked so much?
Yeah. And you would ask, like, well, why? What are you doing to stop it? I mean, Cody Paul saying it right here. 15 sacks in 2 games.
That's just in your own division at that.
In your own building.
Your own building and your own division.
That's ridiculous. Falconators talking about Panthers got clapped by the Redskins. Yeah, they did. And that led to Ron Rivera getting fired. Mark Goodby says Ron Rivera, new head coach in Atlanta? ? No, I don't want Ron Rivera as a head coach.
No, I mean
maybe a DC. Maybe.
He could end up somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't see him in Atlanta though.
No, I don't think so. Falcons, Hawks / Braves fan. Okay, it's Falcons fan extraordinaire. Boy, your name gets longer every time. I like it. Okay. says I hope Blank has a ticket for Dimitrov and Dirt Cutter heading out of town as well. I'll echo Dirt Cutter. Oh my God.
Dirk has been horrible, man.
It's like my worst nightmare came true when they brought Dirk Cutter back.
And he's continuing to throw the ball 50 times a game.
Oh my God.
50 times a game.
It's ridiculous. How do you expect to have any sort of balance, any sort of creativity? I mean, where the hell is the play action pass at all?
I told y'all that there was not going to be much of a play action pass. I had begged for it.
Yeah.
On a couple videos.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew that there was not going to be play action passes from Dirk Cutter because that's not what he likes to do.
No, that's not his style at all. Which the only bright side I could see, or that I tried to gravitate towards when we brought Cutter back in, was maybe we won't have an adjustment period, between him and Ryan. Well, we had one because we started out hot and garbage, throwing picks left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And if what we have now is them comfortable, then I'll personally drive Dirk Cutter to the airport. Personally.
I don't know if I'm driving him. I'm thinking I'm getting him an Uber. And he better hope that Uber driver is not a Falcons fan.
Oh, my, yeah, because he may not make it to there.
No.
Or at least not Hartsfield. He may end up at like Charlie Brown.
Listen, I'm all about us keeping the West Coast system. But I don't like Kyle Shanahan's system of running the West Coast. Because it's turning out time and time again, no matter who the offensive coordinator is, Matt Ryan struggles the first year under them, even if it's Dirk Cutter.
Yep. He needs an adjustment period. What I want is a offensive coordinator who is going to be committed to the run game.
Yeah.
And who is going to establish the run. I mean, look at what Baltimore's doing. And when it's working, look at what Green Bay and San Francisco are doing.
Yeah. Now I want to go back to Baltimore.
Okay.
Right quick.
Right. What you got?
See, John Harbaugh knows what he wants.
Yeah.
They've been keeping that same formula, and which helped them win a Super Bowl, running the football and playing good defense.
Correct.
Okay. And they've built their team accordingly to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the times where they didn't make the playoffs was because they were retooling the team. Got a lot of people don't like to use the word rebuild.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what they were doing.
But he always knows what his identity is for his team.
Right. He always knows what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, Jim Harbaugh and to an extent Mike Tomlin are very underrated coaches.
Yes.
I mean, if you want to look at what coaching will do for you, look at the Steelers right now.
Yeah, right.
You know, I think they're about to start their third or fourth quarterback, and they've won 7 games.
Yeah.
We have a 2016 MVP as our quarterback with, you know, good talent around him, and we can only win 3 games? We look more like the Chargers than the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And that's crap. You know, that's absolute crap.
Let me ask you this.
Yo.
Should Chris Morgan be shouldering some of the blame for the Atlanta Falcons offensive line woes?
Shoot, there ain't a coach out there that shouldn't be shouldering some blame for what their position's doing. They made the move of, you know, putting Raheem Morris back on the defensive side. They moved the running backs coach up to wide receiver coach, and they named some offensive assistant as running back coach. I ain't seen him. What is he doing?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll say this. Russell Gage is looking pretty good. Are we gonna? I mean, is that Russell Gage or is that the running back coach now wide receiver coach? You know what I'm saying? These weird little like coaching switches that we praised DQ for a couple weeks ago. That was a nice little spark, but that's all it was a spark. It didn't actually light a fire.
It was enough to get you 2 wins.
Yeah, it got you 2 wins.
To get you over one win.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Let's see. Anthony Wright says, what's going on, Pound for Pound? Executive team. I hope that both of you have a happy Thanksgiving holiday. With River Road Ron being removed from coaching in Carolina, who's next? Who's next is Dan Quinn. You know, as far as that goes. Dan Quinn, Jason Garrett. You know, as far as I had a good holiday. Did you have a good holiday?
Oh, it was wonderful, man.
I hope
it was
all
just
y'all,
too short, and we hope you guys had
we hope all
a
y'all,
great one too.
Right. You know, I very much hope all y'all had a good holiday. Fred Butt says, I think we need a great general manager that knows what he's doing. He doesn't think this is DQ's fault. It's hard for me to go one way or the other. One thing I've always said about Thomas Dimitroff, and at least it still bears fruit. He may not have gotten great players, but he's always gotten the players that the coaches wanted. Right. You know, it held true with Mike Smith, and so far it's held true with Dan Quinn. Yeah. So who knows? I that's why I'm right now advocating for a clean sweep. At this point, I've seen all I needed to see. I would very much like new vision. Starkiller50 says Quinn makes $4.5 million per year to be less than average. How much does a good coach cost? I guess more than 4.5.
Well, I tell you right now, y'all know how much I'm pushing for Mike McCarthy. I know y'all don't probably like Mike McCarthy like that, but this man made $9 million last year just sitting out on the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course I wouldn't be rushing back anytime soon if I'm making that kind of money because I got let go of before the season was over.
That's right. Ghost Pepper says in 2018 Matt Ryan was sacked 42 times. In 2019 Matt Ryan's already been sacked 38 times with 4 games remaining. See, I think that right there is what gets Thomas Dimitroff axed regardless.
Oh yeah,
you know,
most definitely.
You were supposed to fix it, and you definitely didn't fix it.
No, 99 hits.
Yeah, 99 hits. 99 hits through 12 games. How ridiculous is that?
That's. I don't know.
I mean,
I know Matt Ryan is very tough, but I don't know if you can continue taking hits like that.
Right. Falconator says Martindale, Don Wink Martindale, next head coach. I don't know much about Martindale. I'm just gonna go ahead and call it. I know he's the DC at Baltimore, but how long has he been the DC at Baltimore? Has he been there for a while?
He's been the DC for 2 years now, but he's been with the Ravens for quite some time. Okay. About 8 seasons.
All right. I mean, I would be interested in that, I guess. I don't know if he's only been a DC for 2 seasons. That kind of, I don't know if he would be ready, in my opinion, to go ahead and take that lead to. I think sometimes that's the problem,
Yeah.
that these guys get hot and they get promoted too quick.
Yeah.
But if he's been in the Ravens organization for a while, then I might not be too upset with that,
Well, the Don, I was speaking to him before I came here. He's been advocating for Don Martindale. He believes that could be our guy, and he feels like that could help us fix the defense.
Right.
But as I was telling him, Mike Mularkey is my choice because you have an offensive coordinator. Okay, if him and Matt Ryan start building mad chemistry, guess what? You don't have to worry about him going out for coaching opportunities because he's your head coach.
Exactly. I mean, right. I agree there.
And he wins the division. I mean, the man is 53-23 in the division. 6 divisional titles, guys. You, as well as I know, you win the division, you're in. We just saw that with the Saints.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, you can make an argument one way or the other. You can make an argument about keeping your head coach. You can make an argument about getting rid of him. There's an argument to be made for consistency. Had the Saints gotten rid of Sean Payton after their third 7-9 season, would they be where they are now? So it's ain't nothing guaranteed, right? But the part that the reason why I guess I'm okay with moving on from Quinn, and it seems like we're talking about this every week, but I mean, what else can we talk about other than a losing team?
I mean, it's legitimate now, though, JR.
Right. We ain't got no choice but to talk about this stuff, unfortunately. But I think the part that has gotten me is that you're not seeing the consistency. Well, okay, I take that back. You are seeing consistency. You're just seeing the consistency of a crappy team who looks lost and ill prepared. I don't like. I don't like the way my team looks ill prepared. The only person on the defensive line or the defense right now that looks like they're earning their money is Grady Jarrett.
Right.
That man's playing with his hair on fire. So Falconator says the rate Matt Ryan keeps getting hit and sacked. One day he's going to pull an Andrew Luck and retire. Yeah, well, he asked how would we feel about, how would y'all feel about that? I'd hate to see him retire. But I know there's plenty of fans that would, be glad to see Matt Ryan walk away, which I ain't never understood.
As a matter of fact, let's talk about that because I tweeted that out over the weekend, and I think I got more retweets and likes than I've ever gotten on anything in a while on my timeline about a lot of people. You're hearing the loud chirping now that they want Matt Ryan gone. How do you feel about that?
Okay. It is to me, it's a full-on example of you don't know what you have until it's gone kind of situation. And most people don't appreciate what Matt Ryan does because they view him as they don't view him as having that fire that, like, say, a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson kind of has, right? They view him as almost as like just a corporate figurehead.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't view him as being as special of a quarterback as he is. He's in the top 10 at minimum since he's been in the league.
Right.
And plenty of times in all stats, he's top 5. But our fan base don't treat him that way. They treat him like he's more like Andy Dalton than he is closer to Drew Brees and Tom Brady. Almost every time you look at a stat that has one of those upper echelon quarterbacks in it, Matt Ryan's name is right in there.
Right.
So I don't understand why people want to usher him out of the building. Unless it's just a full on because he's the guy that came in after Vic.
I mean, I'm hearing a lot of people talking about we need a mobile QB, and like they feeling like that could be the answer to solving our problems. But I'm looking at this offensive line. I don't think it's going to matter how fast that QB can run if he don't at least have some little time to react to what's coming at him.
I know. I agree completely about that. Now, look, I've been on record. I've probably said it on the show before, but I've been on record to say when Matt Ryan decides to retire, when he thinks he's done. Our next quarterback, I would like more of a Russell Wilson-esque quarterback, or a, like Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, like more of a quarterback that can, if something breaks down, can make something happen.
Right.
Like Russell Wilson can move and can throw or can run and make something happen, but he's looking to throw first.
Right.
Like right now, early on in Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson's career, I think they're looking to run as much as they are looking to throw. But I think as they get in their career more, that will shift more to more like a Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? So, Marty Young. Marty Young says, Matt is one of the best things to happen to the franchise in 20 years. Vic was a great show, but you put him in the Super Bowl. Yeah, he didn't get us to the Super Bowl. Right. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, I mean, Matt has been consistent since he's been here. And it's kind of like after a while, if you're a Braves fan, how long did it take for winning the division not to make that much of a difference anymore? Because, you did it every year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
14, 15 years straight. After a while, you're just like, okay, so we won the division and losing the playoffs.
Right.
I don't know how many times I heard my dad say that. That's fine. They'll choke in the playoffs,
Well, that's what we did.
Right. And so, in a sense, Matt Ryan's fine. He's playing good. He plays it to an elite level. But since the team doesn't win, it gets put on him.
Right.
So that's always how it's been. As far as QBs get too much praise for wins and too much praise for losses.
Yeah.
When at the end of the day, this is a team sport. And that's what I love about football. Cody Paul says Cutter is hindering Ryan with horrific play calling. I agree, 100%, Cody. They said they need to get Ryan back on rollouts and bootlegs. Yeah,
what you have not seen
like
all
at all.
Year. But guys, we knew this. Dan Quinn allows the coordinator to be who the coordinator is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he learned his lesson with Sarkisian.
Yeah.
He asked Sarkisian to be Shanahan.
Right.
And Sarkisian couldn't. At this point, I would have much rather kept Sarkisian than brought Cutter in. If this is what it was going to be you know what I'm saying? Like, our offense was getting better. It just didn't show up against elite defenses, which I think is why you end up moving on from Sarkisian. But at this point, I'd have much rather kept him than brought Cutter back.
That's just so hard for me to call. Because
you can't go there with me?
Man, because
what about
at this
y'all?
point, man, any decision DQ made and has made,
yeah,
it hasn't really resulted in a lot of wins, y'all. I mean, I'm sorry. I'd hate to tell y'all this, but other than those 2 weeks showing that we had with the change he made at defensive coordinator with taking himself out of the picture,
yeah.
Now that teams have that on film,
had that figured out,
they're running right through it
again. Yeah.
And for the first time, I saw Jeff Albrecht and Raheem Morris over there looking like, God dang, what do we call?
Yeah, like what do we do?
What do we call?
I mean, I'll say this, okay? In the Saints game, you held Drew Brees to under 200 yards. You held Alvin Kamara to under like 50-something yards rushing. The thing that killed you was Tyson Hill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His gadgetry. And that's Sean Payton right there.
You know what?
Yo.
I got to talk about this.
Okay. What you got?
Have you noticed that what we've come up with to win that Super Bowl, other teams have emulated it and actually are doing better with it than us?
Yeah.
Okay, we had Mohamed Sanu that was doing all the gadgetry.
Yeah.
And they go and get Tyson Hill, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
We had Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman dominating it, and then you saw Carolina made a move when they got Christian McCaffrey, and they tried to do it with him and Jonathan Stewart at first before they let Jonathan Stewart go. Right. And then the Alvin Kamara pick was inspired by the Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman.
By that two-headed tandem.
And they had Mark Ingram with Alvin Kamara, and they are killing it. But you come over here with the team that actually sparked all of that. We're not doing well with what we put out there for other teams to copy in our division.
Because, as far as like the running backs are concerned, you went out and drafted another Devontae Freeman. What made Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman an interesting dynamic package was that they offered up something different.
Right.
Like Devontae Freeman, when he was healthy and in his full prime, he gave you that cut, in the backfield. He gave you that break your ankles in open field.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Tevin Coleman, when you would get those holes opened in that stretch run game,
mm-hmm.
he was a home run threat.
Yeah.
Almost every time he touched the ball. Now, for all you people who are like, oh, we should have kept Coleman, I would like for y'all to turn your attentions to San Francisco, where he's third on their depth chart behind Matt Breida and Morissette. Morissette, is it Morissette? His name starts with an M.
They had
he's not. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the guy they had Sunday, he was running all over. Both, I forgot his name, man. It's a weird name, man, but he was running all over.
But you see what I'm saying?
The Ravens defense.
Yeah, it's not a, it's not necessarily that Tevin Coleman was all that great, but he worked really great with Devontae Freeman, and it was a dynamic package. So, that was something that, for whatever reason, we lost the Super Bowl, and it seemed like DQ, instead of trying to refine it, scrapped it.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to figure out what exactly went wrong and make it better, he went the other direction. It's almost like he was like, oh, that looks like what we used to do. Okay, well, let's get rid of it. We're like, what are you doing, man?
And see, that's the thing, man. We don't have an identity of who we truly are. We're trying to be a multiple of things, and that's not working. Yeah. We don't know who we are. We're not the fast and physical.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, that's gone.
And if we had been that, then we would have had our identity on lock. But that has not been the case. I think the fast and physical was just too much for the players to live up to.
Yeah, it was even in Seattle, they've had to change up what they do.
Right.
The Legion of Boom held it down for a while, and once they started breaking up, they've had to change the way they play defense. So, Ghost Pepper says, 10 years from now, people will say, what was the best thing Quinn did for the Falcons? Hire Kyle Shanahan. He definitely wouldn't be known for a suffocating defense. That's for sure. I mean, yet another defensive-minded coach that, produced a crap defense.
Yeah.
When he became the head coach. Morissette, that's the right name. Thank you, Falconator. Let's see. Jimmy Wright says, Taysom Hill is another example that this league is heading towards mobile quarterbacks. League defense gets too fast for a pocket QB. Yeah, I mean, that and the fact that the college game does tend to translate up, it takes a while for the NFL to catch on to or to start using what the college is doing. But they've done that throughout history. You can look at that. But as you get these college players in who are no longer running pro-style offenses in college, the translation rate is bad, So what are these new and innovative coaches doing? They're doing a lot of things that they did in college because that's what these players are used to doing.
Right.
And it's now you're getting enough of them in here to where it's translating. That's why I think you're seeing names like appreciate that, Jimmy. He says hit the like button. Yeah, very much so. If you want to hit the like button, I guess it's the perfect time to say that we're only about 98 subscribers away from 2,000, and that would be kind of cool.
Come on, y'all. Help us get that 2,000 before December 29th, which is the Falcons' last game, I believe, against the Bucs.
So if you're not subscribed and you enjoy us, by all means, hit that subscribe button. That we would like to see that. But the point I was making is that, you're starting to get these college players in here, and these college systems are starting to influence what the NFL does.
Right.
You're seeing that with Baltimore right now with Greg Roman. He's the hottest name right now because it looks awesome. Well, people at least may not remember, but he had Tyrod Taylor looking like a Pro Bowler up in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you saw what he did with Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
He made these guys look good. So that's something to keep an eye on. He's going to be a hot name going into this offseason.
But see, that's just the thing. I couldn't see him as being the Falcons head coach because that would mean something would have to happen with Matt Ryan.
I think so.
And I think Matt Ryan still is going to be the draw for the next head coach coming.
Of course. Why wouldn't he be?
He's still accurate as a QB, in my opinion.
I mean, he still posts damn near a 70% completion rating.
Yeah.
You don't sneeze at that. Everybody likes to talk about Cam Newton, but he ain't never had that.
No.
Even in his MVP season, he was at like a little over 50% completion rate. Christian Blake did play well. That's another guy who was looking good. So maybe this new running back / wide receiver coach is doing something.
I mean, we have some receivers that look like they can do some things. Russell Gage, of course, we all know, and Christian Blake. I don't think receivers is going to be an issue for us going into. I would draft at least one more in this draft coming up. I know a lot of people probably don't think that should happen, but I think we need to have as many receivers as we can for Matt Ryan and for whoever this new coach is going to be.
To try to figure this out,
So, we got offensive weapons, but this offensive line, man, it needs some work.
Oh, big time.
Seriously. I don't even know if coaching is going to help some of the guys on this offensive line. Speaking of offensive line, do you think the end of Alex Mack days have come for the Atlanta Falcons after this season?
I'll put it to you like this. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if I'm ready to see his days end. He's still playing at a pretty high level, albeit not the 2016 level. But he's still playing at a pretty high level, and I think that's a recipe for success with Matt Ryan is to have that veteran center, like you saw what he did with Mud Duck, McClure.
Right.
And then when McClure retired, forced into retirement or whatever it was, the next few years without a competent center, I don't know if I want to relive that anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to relive that as well, but it could be coming to an end with Alex Mack.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially like Kojak just brought up a good point. I'm glad you said it because I couldn't remember it. But he's talking about like $9 million saved.
Yeah.
And so that may be what has to happen.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at all the contracts that you have right now, Alex Mack may have to become the sacrificial lamb or one of them.
It could be, very well could be. Marty Young said he'd trade Keanu Neal to Dallas for a lineman. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want – depending on who you bring in, Keanu Neal may not fit with whoever you bring in.
And he may not.
Look at Deion Buchanan from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Was lighting the league on fire as a
inbox, linebacker, safety.
Right. And then, Cliff Kingsbury comes in and he's out with yesterday's trash.
And if Mike Mularkey comes in, he may not be here because they don't do a lot of safeties like that.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I don't. It's going to be a lot of changes next year, man.
It's very well possible that the 2020 Falcons don't look anything like the 2019 Falcons.
Nothing.
Other than Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. And I think that would come down from Blank himself, I would think.
I don't see Julio Jones going anywhere. And like I told you, I believe that those two guys are going to be one of the key draws of drawing that next coach here.
Yeah, exactly. And, on the defensive side, you got Grady Jarrett and Deion Jones. Yeah,
well, Deion Jones hasn't been able to do much because things just haven't clicked for him since the season has started. And that could be, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I don't know what has caused his regression, But I know he's a much better player than what we've seen this season.
Yeah, I think a lot of times that your year that you come back from an injury, especially one that kept you out for almost a full season.
Yeah.
Your first year back sometimes can be a little rocky. So if he looks like he did, does this year, next year, then I'll start to worry about him. So, but as it stands right now, he's still making. He may not be making the wow plays,
right,
that we're used to seeing out of him, but he's still making pretty good plays. So I'm kind of okay there. B Strong wants to know, can Lindstrom take over for Mack? No, I think Lindstrom is a guard. Like, that's what he played in college. I think that's what they drafted him to be. So I mean, I ain't saying that he can't, but I think you'd be better off keeping him at right guard. Because, like I said, he was looking good there before his foot broke.
Well, I heard that being thrown around, that Lindstrom could possibly be the one taking over when Alex Mack is gone.
Okay.
But I think that to me is predicated on if Dan Quinn then was still
here. Yeah.
I mean, Dan is not gone. Yes, he's not gone yet. But I don't see him being here, ladies and gentlemen, after this season.
No, I don't either. I don't see him.
Yeah, me personally, talking about Mike McCarthy, there's a rumor mill out that he's not interested in the Redskins job if that front office stays the way that it is.
And like, who can blame him there?
Yeah, you don't blame him. But what that tells me is that McCarthy is going to have his choice on where he wants to go, number one. And don't be surprised if he gets something similar to Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll with being able to control. I know a lot of people want to hear this, control the roster.
Yep.
Okay. Because I can't just put all the blame on what happened and transpired in Green Bay on that defensive side of the ball just on McCarthy. Ted Thompson has to shoulder some blame for this.
But there for a long time, they weren't willing to go spend any money in free agency.
No, because they were setting it up for Aaron Rodgers.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that takes a lot of that could take a lot of heat there as well. Appreciate that, Quaz Kendricks. We thank you for saying that you love our show. Let's see. Falcon fan extraordinaire says Matt Ryan can be an elite game manager at this juncture in his career, like Brady and Breeze. The Falcons don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you give Matt Ryan an offensive line and something that resembles a run game, and he can, his last 4 to 5 years in this league, because y'all got to remember he's only 34.
Right.
So I would say he's got a minimum 4 more years, especially with the way they protect quarterbacks now as far as the rules go. His durability has been, pretty amazing thus far. So I wouldn't be surprised if he played close up to being 40 years old, if not maybe a little older. Who knows? But with that being said, if they can get him a run game, something that even resembles a run game, to where you can start working on those, start working off those play action passes and bootlegs and stuff like that. The things that he is really good at, and I would love to see him get back to doing. He could age like a fine wine, is what I was getting at.
Right.
I don't think you'll see like a dramatic drop off the cliff like you did with Joe Flacco.
No, I think Matt Ryan was a much better player coming out than Joe Flacco.
Right.
And that still stands today because, as you all can see, Joe Flacco is not doing anything.
Right. He's sitting on he's on IR.
He's on IR right now, but he's just not that quarterback since after he got paid by the Ravens after gambling on himself, which rightfully so. You went to the Super Bowl and you won.
Yeah, exactly. B Strong says, I wish we could keep Dan Quinn as a defensive line coach or just a coordinator. Is a brilliant defensive mind if he has the talent. That's still up in the air, I think, there, B Strong. Because, I mean, this is solely DQ right here with this defense, right?
Bless y'all hearts. Y'all want to keep DQ up in here in some form or fashion.
I mean, it is. Let's see. Falconator. Let me get your last one. It says, oh, yeah. Okay, that's something that I've seen you say before. So my apologies on that one. But yeah, this small defensive line, I wouldn't mind some run stoppers. I wouldn't mind some space eaters. I would like to beef up both lines, offensive and defensive lines. We need to get stouter in the trenches all the way around.
Woo, boy, I'm gonna tell you somebody that's on my wish list, boy.
What's up? What
I
you
saw
got?
him, Auburn's defensive tackle, Derrick Brown.
Oh yeah,
number 5.
yeah. Come on.
Ooh,
Good.
boy,
Yeah.
him next to Grady Jarrett.
That'd be
Boy,
nice.
that would be monstrous. Now we need to see, of course, what his combine numbers are going to look like.
Right.
Next year at the combine. But this guy seems very athletic.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, but he's athletic as I don't know what, man. And I mean, dude, if he can't get to the passer, he's going to deflect that ball down.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, if we were able to get him, now I wouldn't agree with getting him necessarily at number 5 if we stayed there or went up to, 3 or 4. But, man, I mean,
Oh yeah. No.
I would love to have him on the team if
Yeah,
we
I
weren't able to get Chase Young.
Yeah, I definitely would not mind pairing him next to Grady Jarrett for sure. Let's see. Somebody asked about Sensei asked, do we like Kevin Stefanski, the Minnesota guy?
Yeah. You know what? I think I mentioned something about him before. I can see him as a fit here, as an offensive-minded guy for the Atlanta Falcons, and he could possibly bring Gary Kubiak with him. You get a 2-for-1 deal there.
I would be okay with him being the head coach if he can bring Gary Kubiak. And the only reason why I say that, because if I ain't mistaken, this is his, first year?
Yeah.
As the OC?
He took over last year.
Right, took over
Yeah.
partway through. So, again, he doesn't have a ton. I guess what I'm getting at is I don't necessarily want a new coach.
Nah.
I want somebody with some experience.
Now,
I've seen new coaches.
what you just said.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
What you just
Go
said.
ahead.
If he can get Gary Kubiak, okay, he would have to have some star OC as on the ticket.
Right.
Because that's why Dan Quinn got the job, because he had the hottest coordinator on the ticket.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
Kyle Shanahan.
Remember, guys, Terrell Austin, that was the Detroit Lions defensive coordinator, was second runner-up, the head coach.
Yep.
The only reason he did not get the job is because they did not want Adam Gase, and he couldn't entice Kyle Shanahan to jump ship.
Yep. That's
it.
Yeah.
They brought him back in for a second interview. They really liked Terrell Austin, but he could not get Kyle Shanahan from Dan Quinn.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're 100% right on that. So if the guy from Minnesota, the Kevin Stefanski, oh, man, if he becomes our head coach, I'm really going to have to figure out how to say it. Mustafa. Anyway, if he becomes our head coach, I'll be down with that if he can bring Kubiak with him. Or if he can bring a very experienced defensive coordinator with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily want a first-time head coach with a first-time DC. So Anthony Wright says, on the D-line we could have had Dexter Lawrence in the first round. He fell right in our laps. We could have drafted him and still drafted Chris Lindstrom. That's possible. That is very possible. We could definitely be playing like coulda, woulda, shoulda all day long there.
I mean,
Falconator says that's who we need on our D-line, Derrick Brown. I guess that's the guy from Auburn you were talking about. Yeah.
Boy, he lit my eyes up, man. I tell you now, they didn't do much defensively to stop Alabama from scoring points, but he was wreaking havoc up there, just mainly himself.
Yeah, he was doing his job.
Just wreaking havoc.
B Strong says, I was angry when Elway blocked Kubiak's interview last year. Yeah, a lot of people were. Who knows if he would have taken it, but for Elway to block Kubiak and then Kubiak to still end up leaving anyway.
I think Kubiak would have taken his job as the OC here, and probably would have gotten the HC job if Dan Quinn fails. He probably would have been the only one that would have had a chance to get promoted to the HC.
Yep. Ghost Pepper says Cutter has to go. Several better options for offensive coordinator. I mean, come on. We have hungry young back, ready to get some more carries, but Quinn and Cutter refuse to utilize them. Yeah. I think if nothing else, these last 4 games, you got to see what you got in, Quadre Olison, Deidrin Sanat.
I don't think you're going to see anything from Deidrin. I don't know what happened with him.
I don't either.
Why they didn't feel the need to help him develop more to play as a 3rd round pick.
Yeah,
but they just basically tossed him to the side. That
is a head scratcher.
Yeah, my head is it's
that
itching.
is a head scratcher, especially with Dan Quinn being all about that, Project D, the development, all that stuff. It's just such a head scratcher with what is going on with Deidrin Sanat.
Yeah,
and why he's not even seeing the active roster, much less the field.
Yeah,
it has been that's been interesting. And that's something to watch for the rest of these 4 games. So, we get Carolina in our building with an interim head coach.
Mm-hmm.
How bad are we going to lose? Because this looks like a game we should win.
Listen, man, I think if Dan Quinn can't beat anybody else, he's figured out how to beat Carolina. I mean, he's 7-2 against them right now.
Yeah.
And that was added with the game that he beat Ron Rivera before Ron Rivera was fired.
Yep.
I think he goes 8-2 against that team.
Yeah.
I think that's the game we win. We go up 4-9.
Okay.
And after that, I don't know if we're going to win the last 3 games after that against the 49ers.
You got what? Yeah, 49ers, Jacksonville, and Tampa.
Yeah. I don't see us winning them last 3 games. I don't.
No, I don't see any reason why we would.
But I do believe we will beat Carolina. I'm believing.
Okay, when it comes to Jacksonville and can the last 3 games, can Matt Ryan just be sick?
He's gonna wish he was sick.
I mean, he could play against Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And we'll get him maybe up over, pad his stats some more. But then can he just have the flu for the last 3 weeks?
Like I said, he's gonna wish he was, because you're looking at the defensive lines that he's about to face. Now, one would argue that Jacksonville has kind of slid
a little bit,
and that their D line has aged. Yeah. But those guys are still scary.
Yeah, Calais Campbell ain't no joke.
Yeah, and the way that this line is playing right now, we may survive Carolina, but it's not gonna be pretty against San Francisco.
No. With both
at all, and nor Tampa Bay, because they wrecked us.
Yeah, Shaquille Barrett.
Yeah,
he's on a mission to get
had
paid.
no answer.
Yeah, he's on a mission to get paid. All right, I think we are getting close to wrapping up, so I'm gonna run through the last few of these questions or comments that have been coming in. B Strong's. Well, let's start with Cody Paul said should have gave Quadre Olison the ball against the Saints on the goal line. I agree, completely. That's why you got a big back. At least I thought. Let's see. Where am I at? B Strong says, do you think Keith Armstrong would make a good Falcons HQ? They say special teams coordinator made good head coaches, and he is familiar with our roster. He may interview for the position. I wouldn't mind having Keith Armstrong back. I liked Keith Armstrong. I liked his attitude. The special teams kind of dipped a little bit in the last few years, but I don't know how much of that was on Armstrong or how much of that was on the players. But I'm always in the camp of wanting a special teams head coach.
Yeah.
Because they work well with the entire roster.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing him back. Fred Butts, our friend Fred, says, why do y'all hate DQ? He is the only coach to get us to the Super Bowl in the last 20 years. I agree. But
that Super Bowl only matters if we win, Fred.
Right. Unfortunately.
If we win, we're not even talking about DQ being fired or anything now. And I said this before. DQ wins that Super Bowl, it doesn't matter what happened these last 2 seasons. He will still be the head coach, and I would be all for it.
Yep.
But it's the way we lost that Super Bowl and have been losing ever since.
Yep. I agree
the numbers don't lie.
Yep.
Jay-Z said numbers don't lie.
That's it. Jimmy Rice says, we lose out. Yay. Well, hopefully. That would be nice, at least for the draft picks. Cody says Carolina will come in Yep, come in inspired for the interim head coach and win. Jimmy Wright followed up with a number 5 pick. Falconator says, Dieter Sonat was a wasted draft pick. Shake my head because he didn't even see the field. I agree. It seems like that right now. Anthony doesn't want Keith Armstrong. That's fine. Coach, it is what it is. You're allowed to have your opinion. Falconator says, or not Falconator, Falcons extraordinaire says Cutter wouldn't scheme the young back right anyways. No, you're right. I'll give you he didn't even scheme his own backs in Tampa Bay.
Nah.
Ronald Jones looked like an afterthought. Now he's actually looking like a decent running back. So, all right, last few says Kyle Allen, I think is the quarterback, going to put up 100 on us. I don't know about that. He hasn't looked all that swift the last few games himself.
Another reason why Ron is gone.
Yep. B. Strong says we always lose to interim coaches, Green Bay and Cleveland last year.
Well, that could be a good thing.
Yeah, it could be good. We may just lose out and secure that top 5 pick. All right. Jew Talk Sports says, what's up, fellas? What's up, Jew? TD needs a pink slip now. I'm tired of the lack of pass rush. Yeah, I agree. Ghost Pepper says Quinn Dimitrov is on the same page. It's the main reason why guys like Dietrich Sonat don't see the field. I agree. It's got to be. The only thing that makes any sense. All right, last one. It says, just get it fixed. Fire everyone if that's what it takes. Blank is a player's owner. He always been too emotionally invested in his players. That's possible. But, hey, it is what it is. All right, Toby, that was a good show. I enjoyed it.
Hey, man.
Thank y'all for sticking around.
I'm glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, I'm
glad to have you back. It feels normal now.
Yep.
Hey, look, and once again, if you guys have not subscribed,
please do.
You have not shared this content and you like it,
yeah,
like you say you do, please share it for us, man, so we can get up to this 2,000 subscribers before December 29th.
That's it. That's what we'd like to see it. So like, share. Y'all are already commenting, but keep commenting. All that good, fun YouTube jargon that everybody likes to put out there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I am Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128. You can find me there. Toby?
Toby D, 1991.
There you go. If y'all want to take this on the road with y'all, you can download it on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify. I'll have the audio up there probably sometime tomorrow, I believe. So, with that being said, I think that's it. All left to do is say, hey, as Falcons fans, rise up.